thought we'd take you out and about today. So today we are in the very heart of London, Theatreland London. And finally, after the terrible last couple of years, we're all back at least to seeing live entertainment. Now this particular theatre is the Wyndham's Theatre, and it was opened way back in 1899 by royalty, the Prince of Wales no less. And it's had a stellar life. And basically, when you think about it, every major star who's anybody has appeared here, including, yes, the pop icon Madonna. Way back in 2002, she made her West End debut here in a play that I saw, in fact, can't believe it's that long ago, 20 years, Up for Grabs. But other greats have included plays by Graham Greene, Dame Dinah Rigg, Dame Maggie Smith of Downton Abbey fame. And when you see inside this theatre, you realise what makes Broadway and the West End and all theatres around the world truly so special. Because they are places of, well, in the darkness we lose ourselves, don't we? Wonderful entertainment, and if you can afford it, sometimes even a drink in the interval. That's right. But on a serious note, we're here today to meet a wonderful cast and creator of one of London's biggest smashers right now, Life of Pi. And as you can see from this particular puppeteering at the side of me, it is truly magical. So without further ado, let's go meet the cast of Life of Pi. Get your popcorn ready.
Lolita Chakrabarti, actor and writer.
We are in the beautiful Wyndham's Theatre. You have a production here. What does that feel like, the West End? You know, was this a dream, or was it a dream beyond a dream, that sort of thing?
Dream beyond a dream, I'd say, yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? This is my second play in the West End, so I had one next door at the Garrick, and now to be here. They're funny, the West End theatres, because they're so grand and beautiful and slightly unobtainable. So when I was young, I'd come up from Birmingham and we'd do theatre studies trips to the West End, and I was just in awe. So, but now, when my shows are in the theatre, it kind of feels like my house, very grand house, very grand house. My house looks nothing like this, but you know, it just does feel like I'm inviting people in.
Yeah, and you know, because I love stories like yours, because people who are starting out and they're hoping to do, as we were just saying, all manner of things. You kind of just throw a dart, don't you, and think, let's try that, you know, see if that works, you know. What was the point where you wanted to move, say, I mean, I know you still are, but how did you move into, you know, this side of it rather than just being on the stage? Was that a positive point that you thought, if I'm more versatile, this is going to work?
Wasn't that well thought out. I love the fact that you think I might have had a plan. I think I trained at RADA, so I trained as an actor, and about 5 or 6 years out of college, I was working fine, I was doing lots of theatre, but there's always gaps, right? Yeah. And I filled the gaps with things. So I did an English romantic poetry class for a term. I did some pottery, which I was terrible at. And I thought, I can't sustain this. I hopefully have a career for the next 40, 50 years. So I started to write. And I wrote partly out of boredom, but also partly out of the fact that roles for women, roles for people of colour were quite limited. And I thought, well, let me try. And then I just kept trying.
But did it come easy to you writing, though? Because that's what I find fascinating. Like, I know people like you say, oh, I just sat down. I can barely get through an electric building. Like, what do I do? Yeah.
Did it come easy? I like words. I've always liked words. So I guess there were skills I didn't know I had, but it took graft. My God, I mean, it is hours of sitting on your own trying to construct a story. You know, I wrote short stories, I wrote a terrible novel, I wrote a not very good play, I wrote a film that was okay. You know, I went through all these different drafts of things. And then you have to go back and do it again. You know, you have to work on the same story again. Yeah. The discipline is very hard to crack. You speak to any writer, the discipline is hard to crack.
I'm glad you said that, because it is a lonely path, isn't it? I think, you know, and you don't want to show it to people because you're unsure.
No.
But on the other side, you kind of need some direction, because, you know, is this working?
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The Life of Pi, then, how did that come into your world? Did you know it before?
Oh, yeah. I read it when it first came out in 2002. And I loved it. As a punter, I loved it. I didn't totally understand it, but I think that was the joy of it. Yeah. And then when Simon Friend, the producer, came to me and said, are you interested in adapting this book? I was like, yeah. I mean, I had no idea how, but that is me. I will leap first and then work it out later. So yes, but the love of the story is is stronger now, actually, and is what carried me through.
So what can I expect? What will I see that will engage me?
Well, if you had read the book or seen the film, this is very, very different. It's a very different medium, so I think it would surprise you if you had. But if you haven't, it is it's surprising. I think you will sit there and go, where is this going? You've got no idea where this is going. And as it develops, you know, there are animals, there's puppetry, there's the drab, mundane world of a hospital opens into a zoo, into a market, into a ship. You know, the stage transforms, and then you'll end up shipwrecked with us on the Pacific Ocean.
And it's been well received. Well, but when you started it, and you first, you know, are you a bag of nerves? You know, do you think, oh my God, you know? And do you read reviews? I'm interested in that.
I read every single review, why do I read the reviews? I like to know what informed people think.
Yeah.
So people who go to the theatre all the time, it's really good to know what people think. The ones that aren't great can be upsetting, but then luckily with this, there were just fabulous reviews that I couldn't have written myself, actually. I was, wow, this is praise indeed.
Sell me Life of Pi to the audience that are watching worldwide today. Imagine they're coming from around the world, you know, all corners, and they come to London and they're looking to see something different. Why you?
Life of Pi is about a 17-year-old boy from India who emigrates to Canada with his family, and the ship sinks and the family all dies. And he ends up on a lifeboat with an orangutan, a zebra, a hyena, and a Royal Bengal tiger, and he survives. And the thing that you're watching for is, how does he survive and what do they all eat? And you will come to see this show, and it has its dark moments, but it has its light. There's a lot of laughter in darkness, right? Because he does survive. And to me, it's like what we've all been through in COVID. We have been shipwrecked, we've come through, we've paid the price, but we're still here.
Do you know, I could have put that better, but that's lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.